Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is going to be Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's season 7. This is episode 17. We're moving along. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 more episodes in this season, but whatever, we're plugging along. Same stuff for the most part. Portia and Phaedra have gotten together. She's fussing about how far out Phaedra actually lives from everybody else, so I was laughing about that. Then Phaedra was saying, that telling Portia about her meeting with Cynthia and how she actually did go there expecting an apology, but Cynthia was playing mean girl. When she got there, she told her, you know what, I don't have no time for this. I got more things to do than sitting around playing games with Satan's minions. I said, Lord have mercy, that damn Phaedra. Then she said, child, Cynthia ain't about that life. I don't even know why she's trying to be all tough like that. And that's basically all that really kind of went on. And then Portia kind of put that little thing in her head about like, well, what's up with you and Candy? That kind of thing. They're really beating this thing of why Candy hasn't actually been there for Phaedra. And I got some feelings about that, but we'll talk about that later on. Anyway, next we see, let me stop for a minute. They actually did talk about that they had dirt on Peter. So I laughed. I said, so y'all remember that? Portia said, yeah, we got dirt on Peter. Everybody got dirt on Peter. And it ain't all about just businesses, failing businesses. Everybody got dirt on Peter. So I'm like, okay, see, they start slinging mud. Cynthia's ass gonna start to crying. But you're the dirty bitch. You want to sling mud, right? You want to just put it all on the table. Now, if they start doing all this, her ass gonna be somewhere crying. But anyway, and that was the thing they were saying, there's no dirt really on Cynthia. And that's what Phaedra said, yeah, nobody want to talk about no fibroids and no dry coochie. So I got tickled. I got real tickled with that. But anyway, okay, so moving on. Todd and Candy. Todd and Candy were talking about the fact, they had gone to the counseling, and Candy's like, well, let's do some of this homework that we had to do, this, that, thing, and the other. I'm so tired of this. Like, I'm tired of the Candy and Todd thing. It is what it is. Todd's really not here for the whole counseling thing. He's pretty much not here for the marriage. He told her, why don't we just go and work things out like we used to? Just go on back in the room and have sex and be done with it. And truly, that's really the problem. Because all I hear from her is all sexual. Todd's like, they said what's the pros and cons of being married. Todd felt like all the shit was a waste of time. But he says, okay, he says, you don't like to work through problems. She immediately got attitude. Hey, man, what do you mean? Always got attitude. And here she goes, we don't kiss enough. We used to sit in the car and kiss for hours. And when you hear them, it's all, you don't want to deal with real life is what's coming out of Todd's mouth. And you don't want to give me some of that dick is what's coming out of her mouth. And it's just crazy. And then the last thing she wants to try to slide in there, he won't deal with her mother. You won't deal with my mother. Fuck Joyce. Fuck Joyce. And the thing is, what you don't see, it's a good thing that Todd don't deal with Joyce, because if Todd really dealt with Joyce, he would probably end up smacking her goddamn face loose. So you really should sit back and let that shit be. Let that dead dog lie. You should want your husband to deal with your mother, because if he dealt with your mother, she'd be fucking dealt with. Joyce is ridiculous. And it's a shame. As soon as I see her come on the screen, I'll be like, oh, here we go. All that old bullshit. Anyway, we see Claudia. Claudia had a little time with Gary, the little guy from the show, Ricky Smiley's show, and he gave her, she was telling him she wants to be a stand-up comedian. So he's saying, that's fine, try to do that. And she said, she's basically bored with what she does at the Ricky Smiley show. But he did tell her, you know what, bitch, you better stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Ricky does funny. You do what it is that you're supposed to do. If they say you're supposed to be pretty, then bitch, that's what you do. You sit down and you be pretty. I don't know how they got pretty for her, but anyway, you sit the fuck on down and shut the hell on that bird face and leave it alone. Same thing, she ended up talking with Lunel. Child, Lunel is hilarious. She is just ridiculous with her little fat self. I just like her. But and her eyes always look like her eyes is closed. Said, is the bitch high or she just so fat that her eyes just squint up? I like her though. I like that Lunel. She's funny. But she basically was giving her, now why do you want to be a comedian? You know what I mean? And it was kind of that thing like everybody wants to be a comedian. You need to make sure that you know what you're doing. And as shady as I could be when it comes to Claudia, I think she'll probably do well being a comedian because she likes to do the little off-color jokes and things of that nature. So she'll probably stay in that little area. And that may work for her. Somebody might smack the shit out of her once or twice. But fuck it. You guys got to get her back up and keep on going back and do it again. But yeah, she may actually get popped a time or two. But I think she should do it. Fuck it. If you want to try it out, I'm always for whatever it is. Try it. If you don't try it, then you don't know whether you could have did it or not. So that was her whole thing for the whole episode, was her talking about wanting to do this here stand-up comedy. And I wish her the best with it. I don't like the bitch, but I wish her the best with it. I think she could be all right. Just depends on where she ends up doing her stand-up at. Let's see. Who else? Next, we got Candy and Phaedra. Candy goes out to Phaedra's office, and she wants to talk to her. Now, this was like one of the highlights because I've been waiting on this. She gets out there. Candy has a whole issue about Phaedra. The big issue is that Phaedra is being friends with Nene. That's her big issue. Okay? They are chit-chatting. Phaedra basically came out and told her, I don't know. I don't know what happened. You haven't been around. You haven't been contacting me, and we just have not been talking. And I was really going through some things, and Nene just happened to, she just was there. Nene just was there. She called and texted me every day and said, honey, Candy gets started. She starts this crying. Her and that motherfucking crying. You're crying. I'm like, bitch, can you breathe? She always sounds like, as soon as she started, like she got 10 bags of snot just locked up right here. And I'm like, can you fucking breathe? Hurry up and get done crying with the bullshit. But I looked at her. I did not feel bad for Candy. I really didn't. But I said earlier on in my reviews that Candy, whenever her and Phaedra get together, it was like she was badgering Phaedra for information. And then we already knew early on she didn't really agree with how Phaedra was going along with things. So Phaedra kind of backed off. Now, do y'all remember that, or is that just me? Phaedra started kind of backing off. But if you look at the earlier scenes, y'all can go back. Every time there was a scene with Candy and Phaedra, Candy was pumping Phaedra for information. And then she's going back talking to Todd about how she doesn't really agree with how Phaedra is actually handling things. And that's where the divide came from. You think that Phaedra didn't clock that you didn't agree with her? About the taking the babies to the jail and all that. Then I think the icing on the cake was the damn felon nephew that Candy had staying at her house, and she had him come talk to Phaedra like he gonna counsel Phaedra. Shit, I was offended. And when Phaedra said, have you ever been in trouble? Yeah, I was in some trouble. Get the fuck out of here. Candy, she's stupid. She's stupid, but that's where the divide started. If y'all remember back, this shit's been going on all fucking season. And I didn't feel sorry for Candy. Candy is really pushing me to a place where I don't even want to see her. I don't give a fuck if she don't come back. She's just ridiculous. And then this is the funny part. Why is her ass always eating? Come on now. We're going to 7. I mean, y'all, it's supposed to be reality and all that. But for real, Candy, you're a little bit too real, boo. Every time they get together, nobody's actually eating. They're at the table taking care of the scene. They're talking. Bitch, you're eating. You're always eating, bitch. You're always on a diet because you're always the fuck eating. Anyway, I just didn't know if y'all caught that, but I catch that. At most of her scenes, she ain't saying that because she's sitting around stockpiling information, baby, but her mouth steady eating. Greedy ass. Anyway. But Phaedra was sitting up there looking at Candy. Phaedra was facial expression never, just as stoic. I said, girl, stop. She was crying and carrying on. Oh, well, okay. Well, I said, girl, Phaedra's too much. She is too much. Then when she said, well, are you and I all right? She gonna say, yeah. Yeah. She said, are you going to come to the council session? She said, no. I said, oh my God. Anyway, so y'all know Nene set up this little, this was a mess. Set up a council session with Dr. Jeff. That little man, he's just a sad looking little man. But everybody came. It was Candy, Portia, Kenya, Cynthia, Claudia, Lord. Candy was eating, like she come in the place eating. Nobody else is eating. They offer candy. She gonna say, oh no, I don't eat no candy, honey. Oh, food. I eat that food. She ran over to the table and her jaws was the whole time she was eating. But anyway, so it ended up being a thing, and I didn't understand this. Why? Nene was being ridiculous, okay? When the facts came out, Nene got upset, okay? The facts came out that Nene basically had an issue at some point or other with everybody that was at the meeting. So it did seem like an attack Nene thing because everybody was basically saying what their issue was with Nene because the rest of them really don't have the issues amongst themselves. The only people who have issues is Kenya and Phaedra, Portia and Kenya, Cynthia and Nene. Everybody else is all with Nene. But other than that, Phaedra wasn't there to jump on. So I'm saying, well, how could he have shifted that where it wasn't a thing where it was like, okay, Nene, you did this to me. Nene, you did that to me. Nene, you did. And I kind of could see where she was going down that road where it was like, well, what the fuck? Everybody is all Nene. But the honest to God truth, you're the only one there that anybody got an issue with. So it was kind of weird. But he didn't do real well facilitating that meeting. You know what I mean? He lost control quite a few times. I don't know. And I think what happened with Nene, it's one thing to think that nobody likes you in a group. It's another thing when you realize that it actually is true. Don't a motherfucker like you in that group. So I think that's what actually happened to her. And she ended up getting up and walking out. You know, she did her normal talking over top of people and all that. But that Dr. Jeff was just pitiful. Following her out of there. She just got just as mean to him and told him, you don't know me like that. This, that, that. She was real nasty and bitchy to him. That was a mess. And that was basically where it ended. The other thing was that goddamn Nene and that wig. What is going on? She's sitting up there. She came to Phaedra's house with that motherfucking wig, that Bride of Frankenstein. I said, girl, stop this. And Phaedra, you bitch, she had the nerve to sit there and say, oh yeah, girl, all right, girl, I like it. Phaedra, bitch, last thing I have to say, punishment for one episode, bitch, because you know good well you did not like Nene's wig. You better stop that fucking line. Stop that fucking line, Phaedra. That wig was a damn mess. But anyway, guys, that's basically what went on in this episode. No big deal. They're going to continue on next week, so I guess we'll get the rest of whatever drama goes along with this part. That's basically it. It wasn't no real shebang. It was the same shit that we already heard. We already knew what issues they had with Nene. They were just out there on the table now. All right, guys, so you can thumbs up or thumbs down. You know how that works. And I'll talk to you guys next Sunday. All right, bye, guys.